You don't need it, throw it out, get it out, throw it out. I'm being a little snarky. Don't get rid of that. Guys, I am going to be really honest with you. It has been a struggle. So today's video is kind of a hodgepodge of things. I put it out on my Instagram and on my community post on my channel where you guys could ask me some questions. And I have had a bunch of new questions or comments on my channel from different videos I've done. So I am going to show you guys my desk setup at the end of this video. So my home office and how I set it up. So I wanted to tell you that so you can be prepared, like you need to be prepared. Especially, what is it? Okay, so I'm being a little snarky. I have gotten so much hate for the fact that in my video I say especially instead of especially. And I guess I say it especially many times. That didn't even make sense. So apparently I say this wrong, and I kind of have known that, but it's something that is ingrained in my brain, and it's very hard for me to even recognize that I've said it. And the amount of comments that I have gotten about this stupid word boggles my brain. Now, some of them, there was one particular that was very sweet in how she said it to me. And I even replied to her and said, thank you. There were some that were especially rude. I am like amazed. I'm like, seriously, people, do you not have something better to do with your time than to rant on somebody for saying a word wrong? I'm so sorry. Now, having said that, I do recognize that saying words incorrectly is not pleasant to listen to, and it would be best for me to correct my grammar. I try to speak in a grammatically correct way, but of course I do make mistakes. I am a human person, and especially, see? Okay. Especially when I use that word a lot. Apparently I do. I need to just come up with a different word. Most of the people who comment on my videos are very kind. Some of them are beyond sweet, and I can't even tell you how much that means to me. And I try very hard to focus on those. Having said that, those few in there who are rude about how they correct, it hurts. I'm a human being and it does hurt. So a word to my commenters. Let me just say, if you are going to comment on a YouTuber's video that they have worked very hard to do, it would be nice if you would be nice. And think maybe, would I say this to somebody's face right in front of them that I just met? Would you say that to them in the manner that you just wrote the comment? If you wouldn't, then maybe you need to pause and maybe not write the comment. Just saying. That would be especially kind of you. I will say I will probably use that word wrong again. I probably will, because it's so ingrained in my brain. I will try hard to not do it that way again, but I promise nothing. Okay, another comment that I have gotten lately that boggles my brain. I have had so many comments about my garbage can. That right there is the offender. This garbage can, this one. See, it says trash bucket. So that video was shot over there at my desk. And I did it purposely there because that is a place that somebody would sit to do a video call. That is the reason I did it. I didn't do it here because most people do not have a setup like I have. If I sat here, it would be dark if I did not have this ring light. So I sat over there because I am next to a window and I needed to set up the scene for that video. The hate I got, I encourage people to set up their shots in a place that is quiet and has enough light. That may have to be a bedroom. Now, having said that, the garbage can, which happens to be a bucket, it says trash on it. It is my garbage can. It is in the background. I had a few people say it was so distracting. I had one woman say she had to turn it off because it distracted her so much. I'm sorry, it wasn't moving. It's not like it was doing a dance behind me or the garbage was getting thrown out as we spoke. I'm like, really? I'm sorry. Yep, there's a trash can in the background. It is what it is. Okay, one comment I got a few times in that video was, how do you deal with the turkey neck? So a turkey neck is when you get older or you've lost a lot of weight and you've got a lot of extra skin under here. And I'm looking at myself because I'm wondering if it shows up too much. I do have a slight turkey neck. I don't have a lot. One woman asked me how I don't have it when I lost so much weight. The reason is because I gained my weight at the bottom half of me predominantly. So my face did lose, definitely it lost some fatness to it and it's gotten a lot thinner. So I do have loose skin here. So here's my biggest advice. When I am doing my bronzer, so the bronzer that goes around my face, like it deepens up my skin. This right here is lighter. Let me demonstrate. So see how this is lighter, so that catches the light. So I'll take my bronzer and I'll just deepen it. So when the light catches, it catches less because it's darkened up. Just raise your camera a little higher so that the angle's coming down at you this way. If you are dead on, you're going to catch all the light and it's going to be noticed. If you're lower, it's going to definitely catch it. So have it slightly higher than normal, not so you're like looking up at the camera like this. That's weird, but a little bit higher than normal, and that will help. I've also gotten a lot of questions about my microphone and camera and ring light. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is what my ring light looks like when I am looking at it. Obviously I have it off so it's not blinding you, but this is my setup. So the ring light I have is called a halo, and I will try to find it below. I bought it when I first started my channel 3 years ago, so I honestly have no clue where I bought it, but it was about $250. It was my most expensive purchase when I started. It came with the tripod and it came with this part on it to mount my camera, but I bought an adapter because I started out just using my iPhone. My camera is a Canon EOS 50. I love this thing. I got it on Amazon. I will link it below. One of the best purchases. I love this camera. It works perfectly. So it has this flip out. I can flip it this way if I want to look at it the other way. And then it obviously flips back on itself. I have this microphone, which is a Rode, and I don't remember where I got it, but I'll try to find it and I'll link it. It probably was from Amazon, so I'll probably link it there. So let me show you the back of it. That's what it looks like on the back. And I just bring it over and it shows me that it's on. And I have no clue what these different numbers are. My son could probably tell me, but I think it's louder the different ways. I'm not positive, or not as loud. Let me show you what it looks like on the back of this. You can see halo. It comes with a carrying case and it just works well. Another question I got was, what does my family or my husband think of me filming? So they don't mind most of the time, but sometimes they mind when I have to make them be quiet. So my daughter, actually, as I'm speaking, is taking a shower, and she loves to blare music. Like, she brings a little speaker in there and she blares it. And normally I don't care. But of course I'm filming right now. And so I had to stop and say, turn it off. She's annoyed now because she has to turn it off, but it's not that big a deal. My son doesn't really pay too much attention to it. My son's a very quiet, very private person, so he never wants to be in anything. And my husband is pretty much the same thing. They don't really want to be on camera or anything like that. So that's why you never see them. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions about my hair. So I think that I've gotten tons of new subscribers, literally about more than 5,000 in the past month. So a lot of you have asked me about my hair. I did a whole series, and I will link it below, on my 3 days of doing my hair. So it should answer all your questions, the products I use, how I style it. One person asked me my haircut. So I don't really know. It is layered. Like you can see the layers here. There's shorter layers. I'm trying to grow out the ones here so that I can put it back easier, because I'll put it back and these come flying out and that drives me nuts. So I'm trying to grow that out a little bit, but it's pretty much just, you know, almost shoulder length and highlighted, and I don't know what else to tell you, and a little layered. Not majorly layered, but a little bit. So someone asked me, have I always lived in Pennsylvania? No, I grew up outside of Chicago in a town called Winfield, which is near Wheaton, Illinois. My dad actually went to Wheaton College. And so he was a pastor in Winfield. And so I grew up there, and then my family moved to Ithaca, New York, where Cornell University is. And I did all my high school years in Ithaca, New York. I went to school 1 year to a school in Pennsylvania. I dropped out. From that, I found out about a job in South Jersey, Cape May, New Jersey, and I worked there for a summer and a fall. From there, I went to Colorado, and I worked in the Sangre de Cristo mountain range in a town called West Cliff, Colorado, and I worked at a camp called Horn Creek, and it was right in the mountain range, and I worked in the dining room there, and I lived there for under a year. I think it was like an entire winter and into the spring. From there, I got a job as a nanny for a Jewish family, and I lived with them for 4 years, and I went back to school while I was doing that. And this town that I lived in was in Teaneck, New Jersey, and it's right outside of New York City, and sweet, sweet family. And their children were in my wedding. They were my ring bearer and flower girl. And from there, I got married. And I lived in New Jersey, North Jersey, and then my husband got a job in Pennsylvania, and we moved here. Okay, that's Bobby's life in a nutshell. Okay, so I've gotten some question about my fashion. It just cracks me up. I am not a fashionable person. I think I answered this in my other video that I did, my other Q&A. I like plain shirts. You will notice I don't wear a lot of print, at least not a lot of loud print. I wear just plain pants. I don't know, I'm wearing a lot of leggings right now, but leggings, I don't wear them out too much. I don't know, I don't have a fashion sense. I don't think I do. I just try to look as best as I can. Maybe when I'm thinner, I'll do a fashion thing for you guys, but not now. Someone asked me my favorite series. I think what you mean is maybe on TV. So I love Survivor. Love Survivor. In fact, today is Wednesday and I'm watching it tonight. So love Survivor. I've watched every single season except the first one. I love the PBS series Call the Midwife. Loved it. I loved Downton Abbey. That was my absolute favorite as well. I love The Rookie. It's the guy who, I don't know his name, but he also was Castle before. Love that series. Trying to think what else. I love HGTV. So anything home thing, Joanna Gaines, the whole Magnolia thing, they're coming out with a new channel. Cannot wait for that one. I try not to watch things that have a lot of profanity or sexuality. I just don't think, like, my brain does not need to be filled with that kind of thing, and so I don't want to watch things that have that. I'm not like, oh my word, one swear word and I turn it off, or one thing that's a tiny bit sexual and I turn it off. I'm not that strict, but when the whole series is geared around it, I just am like, why do I need to fill that? That's just not something to me. I try to do things that God would be honored with what I'm watching, and so I just don't fill my brain with it, if that makes sense. My absolute favorite genre of a movie, oh, I love end of the world movies. Love, love, love them. When something like, think World War Z or I Am Legend. I love to see how people would maneuver, like what they will do to figure it out. Now, having said that, when this whole pandemic thing started, Rachel was like, Mom, there's a movie out called Pandemic. Oh my word, the similarities of what was happening in our real life to this movie, and it was filmed like in the 90s, was way too eerily close. And she wanted to watch it like the first month, like in March, and she had watched it with her friend. She's like, Mom, you'll love it because it's end of the world kind of thing. And I'm like, nope. I can't. I just can't. I cannot watch that. It's too close to home. This one I can't do. And so I put it off for a month. Finally, a few weeks ago, I'm like, okay, I can handle it. And it was fine. It was fine. And it was eerily close. BJ Weaver says, what is your favorite form of exercise and how often do you work out? So I don't like to exercise. I hate to exercise. Now, lately, because we're home, my husband and I have been walking almost every single day that we can, and sometimes twice a day. And I'm definitely getting my pace faster, which is good. I used to love to ride bikes. And then when I got too heavy, it just hurt my back because all of my weight was sitting on my tailbone and it just hurt. So I stopped riding my bike. I want to get back into that. And I think my husband and I are going to, now that it's getting warmer out, I think it's okay for me to start doing that. So I would say walking and biking are definitely my favorite. And running, no. No. Best marriage advice. Oh boy, I do not feel like I am qualified to give marriage advice. I have a strong marriage, I will say. My husband and I have been married since 1992. And he's a really good man, and I think the reason our marriage has lasted is because of him. And a commitment. We don't believe divorce is an option. So we make sure that works. Now, have we gone through some dark times? Yeah. Marriage is hard work, and we do work at it, not as much as we should. I don't think we do. And communication is definitely one of our hardest things because I love to communicate, but my husband does not. And so that's definitely one of those things that we struggle on, that he's much more of a not tell me what's going on in his brain kind of person, and I need that from him. So we definitely struggle on that. This time with him, if those of you who are new, my husband lost his job in January. He was laid off. So before this whole thing happened, he had already lost his job. So by the time everybody else started losing their jobs, he had already been unemployed for 2 months. So this has been a really hard time. We are now in our 5th month of no job. God has given us much grace, and he has helped us through this hard time of being without a job. I pray for my husband that he is not feeling discouraged, and I try to encourage him every time he gets a rejection letter or he has someone says, they decided to go a different route. I try to immediately turn to him and say, okay, now we know that would not be the job for you. We know that is not what God wanted, and thank the Lord that He prevented you from being in a job that you would have hated. Okay, Cindy asks, I want to know about the area you live. It looks lovely from your videos. Is it a new development? No, our development was built in the 1980s. It's very big, and I'm not actually a fan of developments. I would love to live out in the country, but close to a town. I would not want to be like in the middle of nothing. I would love to live on a farm, a small little farm, and have a little land, and a little modern farmhouse would be my dream with a little barn on the side. Trish says, how to get motivated and stay organized. That's a big one. That's a whole series in and of itself. And I think it's just prioritizing the things that truly matter to you. I do not function well in disorganization. That's just my personality. And so I have to make sure something is organized before I even start. I will clean an area. I will clean the kitchen before I cook in it. I will take care of the dishes before I do anything else in the morning. I will make my bed, even though my back is turned to it at my office. I will make the bed because I can't stand the fact that behind me something is unmade. That's totally my personality. And so I have to do what matters to me and how I can function the best. I stay motivated because I try to say no to the things that don't matter. And that's been growing over time. Saying no to the little things that truly are not going to make a huge difference is more important to me, so I can focus on the things that really do matter. And so you just spending some time figuring that out, making a list of going, okay, what truly matters to me? What in the grand scheme of life truly matters? And for everybody, that's different. Typical things would be your family, your faith, your health, your job. It does matter. You need to be focused on it. So those are the typical things, your friends. And then being able to look at that and go, okay, in those things, what truly matters? For my family, what truly matters? And so simplifying my life was huge. I absolutely simplified over the last 30 years, literally, like, nope, I don't need this. Nope, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And just getting rid of the things that do not matter. And I can come into a room and crank out and get down to the nitty gritty of what truly matters, if it's in my control. Now, we cleaned out our garage last weekend. That's my husband's domain. Yeah, we butt heads a little bit. Talk about marriage advice. We were not doing too well then. We did okay in the end, but I'm more like, we don't need it, throw it out, get it out, throw it out. And my husband's like, don't get rid of that. What are you doing? No. So I'm like, we don't need 5 of the same thing. You guys probably deal with this with somebody else in your family too. So yeah, I'm much more of like, we need 1 of it, the rest we do not need. And he's like, what if it breaks? We could lose 1. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, we struggle with that. But get down to the nitty gritty of what truly matters and simplify. Get rid of the things that don't matter. Okay, somebody asked me what my typical day on Weight Watchers is. Guys, I am going to be really honest with you. It has been a struggle these last 2 months. I went into the quarantine right after I had done a week of eating only 16 points the entire day. The entire week, I ate 16 points. I did a whole video on it. I'll link it below. It was game changer. I lost a lot of weight. So I went into it feeling great. The next week, I lost more weight. And then everything halted. And I gained a couple pounds. I haven't weighed myself this week. That's tomorrow morning. So I don't know. But I have been walking, which has helped. But yeah, I'm eating way more than I should. I've not been tracking my points. I'm like any typical person. This has been a stressful time. Stressful eating is a real thing, and I struggle. I've done some videos. My whole weight loss journey is on this channel, and you guys can follow it. There's a playlist. I'll put it below so you can look at some of those videos. I'm not perfect. It is such a journey. It's such a, I think, will I ever get over this? No, it'll be something I struggle my whole life, but it is worth it, and I am not giving up. Even if I gain a few pounds, like, okay, I gained a few pounds. Start over and get to work. So walking has been great because it makes me feel motivated to keep eating better. And I am absolutely starting to cook a little bit more, so I have some frozen things available to me. So, okay, hopefully that answers your question in a very long way. Okay, guys, let me show you my office setup. So this is what my desk looks like. I got it from IKEA, and I love it. I think it's like one of the best things I have purchased in a long time. I actually think we got this from IKEA. I would like to get a cover for it, like a white cover, because I don't like the black. And it doesn't roll very easily on the carpet, but it is what it is. I have a very large monitor, and it is wonderful for being able to see what I'm doing. This I got at IKEA and I keep, this is just some note taking and scheduling, things like that. This is my drive for my camera. So the card, the memory card for my camera fits in here. And then this fits into my Mac. And that's how I get my photos off. And I use a Mac. And my daughter bought me this case, so cute. And you can see I like to do color coding. So more note-taking things. Let me think. So it has this thing at the top and it just have pens. In the back I have more office supply things and then more pens and things like that. These are just notes, you know, sticky notes, whatever. Here has my external hard drives. I have 3 of them, one for obviously YouTube, my school, and then my family, and I just keep them in there. It's just easier. On this side is just my little ring light. You guys saw this in my one video. Apparently it's sold out. I have another tripod and another small tripod and then just extra batteries and things. And then I have a plethora of planners that I've looked through and notebooks that I use periodically. So when I come to my desk, I always have my keyboard and my mouse just ready to go. I like them just put off to the side. I have just a, you know, a what to do list. This is, I've mentioned this so many times, my phone fits in this. I love this, it sits it up straight. Then up here is my shelves that I bought and I just decorated them and I just am in love with this whole thing. I bought that pray sign, I think at Home Goods a long time ago, a while ago, and just greenery and it's just pretty. I really like sitting here because I have the window next to it and it just makes it enjoyable. We'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.